Hello everybody, how are we doing today? It's Wardy, you're watching WardiTV right here on YouTube, and this is a YouTube exclusive. This is an INnoVation Serral matchup, a classic really, a bit of a rivalry between these two if we talk about tournaments gone by, and it's from the HomeStory Cup number 3. A lot of my recent VODs have been from this tournament. Let's get these intros out the way because we've got SCVs moving across the map. Top right hand side, our red Terran player is INnoVation, obviously from Korea, taking on the blue Zerg, bottom left, Serral, as we get going. Game 1 of what is a best of 3. So this was second group stage of HomeStory Cup 3. The first matches in these groups are best of 3, while the rest of the group is best of 5. So a bit of a shame he missed out on this one being best of 5, but I'm always excited for a bit of Serral INnoVation best of 3. These guys played in a lot of previous HomeStory Cups, in fact, or not even HomeStory Cups, but just HomeStory Cups in general, right? It's an event that INnoVation usually makes his way to. It's an event that Serral is pretty much always at, and Serral keeps kind of spanking him in the finals a lot of the time. But also going back to, I think, one of Serral's biggest losses was at WESG when INnoVation beat him in that finals. That was obviously a pretty big deal back then. That was actually one of the last times that INnoVation beat Serral. So INnoVation's on like a 10+ series losing streak against Serral going into this matchup, with his last win being at HomeStory Cup 20 in the playoffs, which he then managed to, he won in the winner bracket and he lost in the lower bracket. And then he actually, the one before that was in 2019 when he won that WSG Grand Finals. That was an epic best of 7. Loved casting that one with Roddy back in 2019. This Proxy Rax is not doing much, guys. Obviously, just kind of watching it here as Serral sees it early with the Overlord, pulls drones to help out against it. And right now, the second barracks is just not going to finish. So that's going to be a disaster on the board from INnoVation in the very first few moments here, as drones are really going hardcore and chasing this Marine down. I mean, I don't feel like you need to go this seriously. This Marine should be able to just kite and kill this drone now. Am I crazy? Oh, this drone is actually going to go all the way and get this single Marine. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. The Marine and the drone. Scrap it out. And the unfortunately, the Marine goes down. Okay, well, INnoVation is going to take a command center back at home. He'll float his one barracks back, but this is obviously a less than ideal setup. Serral even going to steal a gas here, so you can't even do anything with your, what might be excess minerals because you don't have any production right now. INnoVation in a bit of a crappy spot. Well, this all started off, I had a whole thing prepared. I was like, I'm going to talk about my results of Serral INnoVation, the losing streak, the last time Inno won, their rivalry, and then INnoVation just proxy racks. And not only that, but we get drones denying it. Like, gosh darn it, way to throw me on the deep end. I just woke up a couple hours ago, Serral and Inno, even though you guys played this a while ago, because it's replays, obviously, because, YouTube exclusive. Gosh darn it. What's up, everybody? Obviously, just want to quickly say that the game will settle down for a moment. Just thanks so much for watching the videos lately, and of course, if you do end up liking this one, don't forget to like and subscribe on the channel. We put our best videos here every single day, and obviously we have... some YouTube exclusive stuff as well. Going to do a few of YouTube exclusive casts still from the HomeStory Cup. I know it was a week or so ago now, but we've got some good games from this one that we didn't actually cover on our stream because we weren't the main stream, we were just the B stream. So, going to go over a few of these, probably a lot of the Serral games, etc. And yeah, you can look forward to that over the next few days here on the channel. So like, subscribe. Tell me I'm a loser for telling you to like and subscribe. Do as you wish. Alright. Third CC is on the way up, and we are going to get something of a game out of this, at least, as Serral goes up to a third hatchery as well. And he's absolutely Serral in the lead here from the very early stages, right? I mean, Reaper going to come through, Extractor going to go down. Starboard is going to swap over to Attack Lab. What are we going to do, Banshees? Banshee makes a lot of sense, because not even Cloak Banshee for harassing, just straight up single Banshee so you can survive. Because that's the position of the game we're in right now as INnoVation. You are not in a spot where realistically you'd live if Serral is like, oh, I took a really big lead early in this game. Let's just roach rush and just win the game outright. So the Banshee keeps him alive in that scenario, especially when he's then gone 3CC. I have no idea what happened to the wall off here, but that's not pretty. This depot out of place, and that's actually a big problem, because that means his main base will never properly be walled off, unless you go depot here, depot there, maybe. It just means it's not a nice wall off to make, and that just affects you later in the game. You might not think, later in the game that wall off in the high ground helps, but, once Lings get in the natural, if they have free reign to go into the main base too, suddenly they're in two places, rather than just being, secluded in the natural expansion and being kept there. If they can get kept in the natural, it actually turns out pretty well for you as, as INnoVation, because then you just run Marines up here, the Lings all go down, and you're like, haha, gotcha! But, yeah, that's obviously not the expectation here. We do have a Reaper up on the main base. It's going to go down rather quickly. Well handled by Serral, who has lost just one Zergling this game as those Hellions kind of got ran at by a few Lings, but they've backed away now. The Lings have backed off, and it's really just the Banshee that's going to try and see. Obviously, at this stage, there's no Roach Rush coming, so he knows that, and so he's just going to try and see if he can get a little bit of damage perhaps done with this Banshee here. You know, even if you can just chip away at a couple of drones, this Banshee can chip away, fly back, get repaired, go again. No Queen in this maze. There is actually going to be an opening. Okay, I say that, and as if by magic, so I was like, I know what he's going to say. There's no Queen in the main. One will spawn right on time. Couldn't have scripted that much better, could we? Alright, well, Banshee gets turned around, no damage done yet. Again, it's a little tough because it's cloakless, right? So there's only so many locations you can really hit safely. What you will see here is that fourth base coming down. We've talked a lot about this expansion pattern lately. It's on Pillars of Gold that you take this third base and then this fourth base because it's way easier to deal with siege positions around here than it is to deal with siege positions around here if this is your fourth base. So it just works out a little bit better as Banshee's going to find Queens in the middle of the map. That's not a fight you want to take here as INnoVation. Absolutely not. And he does the right thing and backing away from that one as we see extra Marines still rolling out here. Extra couple of racks in this main base. Everything going to rally forward to that forward supply depot. And, yeah, a couple of Evo Chambers, a Bale Nest finishing up as well. The Lair on the way up here from Serral too. So all of this still coming into play. I mean, Serral's just very comfortable. He is a bit behind on upgrades, so that's one thing INnoVation has going for him. And I gotta say, because INnoVation went like mega greed mode, right? He took that third CC super early to get back in the game. He has at least put himself in, again, what I would call a fairly playable position. As Viking goes down, not much love gained there. Killed a single Overlord this game, that's about it. But yeah, INnoVation puts himself in a spot where at least he can get stuff done, right? He's on track, he's got a third base economy. At this stage, you can look at the game and say, well, you know, I can maybe drop around and get some damage. You're definitely behind, don't get me wrong. But there's a big difference to being behind and being able to get back in the game, as difficult as it may be, versus being behind and you just have no hope because the first Zerg army of the game is going to show up and kill you. Which it might have done if Serral had been more aggressive, right? If Serral had said, right, I'm going to all-in you from here, that's the risk that INnoVation took, and because of that, he gets to this later stage in, as I say, a playable position. So as we move forward here, some creep now going to come through, and that's going to try and open up some space. Obviously, on this map, you do look to try and hit the fourth base, and that's going to be along this left side. He might actually just end up having to fight the fifth base, in which case this creep in the center is quite nice to get rid of. Serral doesn't have any units to push this back right now. A couple Widow Mines will go off on just a couple Lings, and the Marines will eventually just lift off out of there. Took a while for Lings to come forward, though. Quite a bit of creep went down, an extra Overlord. So we're going to start to replace this, and he will kill the Widow Mines as the Overseer shows up. So Serral also about a hit plus the Baneland speed, and with 1-1 melee upgrades finishing, it's going to be even upgrades as well. So a couple of advantages that INnoVation had will peter out for a few moments. Obviously, he will still have an upgrade lead going into 2-2, so that's something we can still watch out for here. It's just going to be seeing the single Marine drop just in the middle of the map, trying to do a bit more. INnoVation, you can see the style he's going to play. He's realizing I can't go for a straight-up forward push, right? I can't just go pushing across the map. Serral's going to have too much preparation for that. But if I start dropping around, that's where I'm potentially going to find damage. Multitasking, pulling Serral apart, or at least trying to. Not very many people succeed in pulling Serral apart. As we follow these medevacts. Right on the far left of the screen. I wish there was a better way to show these guys. There's actually no good way to put these on the screen because it's just on the far left edge. I'm a big believer that map makers should make some dead air space all around. Like, not even that you can fly in, just some blank space. I guess I could have zoomed out. Okay. You know what? I could have zoomed out. But all I'm saying is make these cliffs go further back. Don't let units fly there and let us see the units. Push in the middle of the map is that medevac just about survived. Widow Mines get down, but now they get cleaned up just before they fire. One of them fires, but off onto Queens for the most part. And INnoVation gets pushed back in the center. Don't complain about maps. INnoVation and Serral are fighting each other. What's new? Wardy? It wouldn't be a Wardy cast if we didn't start going off on a tangent in critical moments, would it? Okay, but seriously, this drop play is doing absolutely nothing. Serral is just shutting it down. The map is his. The creep is all over the place. Serral is just dominating this game number 1. Which, I mean, he should. He can't shut down a proxy 2 racks. Second racks never really got up. You should never be in a good position from that sort of setup at all. Never, ever, ever, as this hive is coming through from Serral. It's about halfway done. A few Lings pop out. They're going to move through the bottom side. Moving out across to the right. I'm just going to be seeing that hive on the way up from Serral as well. So again, that going as our Lings. Going to go spreading around as well. Queens, Banes, all of it kind of getting ready to go. As I see a couple of these SCVs getting picked off also. So a little bit of damage being done here and there as Lingbane Hydra will continue around. I love that Serral even has, burrowed banelings on the map. So unnecessary given the position he's in, but why the heck not take any advantage possible? As you can see, these Banes kind of felt like they were going to burrow up here, but they decided not to. Maybe just worried about the sensor tower. And there is a possibility, right, that if you have the sensor tower, you see a couple units moving through and then they just disappear, then maybe it gives up the idea that burrow is ready. And it just gives up the idea that you're trying to burrow Banes around the map. So it's one of those things that then INnoVation figures out, and maybe you just don't get that connection you're looking for. INnoVation maxes out. I mean, the game he has to play is slow. It has to go, very patiently forward. He has to basically play as the Ghost Academy comes up. He has to play into that super late game and basically pray that Serral trades badly into him. But INnoVation's advantage right now is that defensively, Terran is a pretty darn good race. And they can survive on, less spaces and trading efficiently for a while. You need to hope that Serral just trades too badly, allowing you to really keep on expanding and out-expanding, and kind of just slowly expanding. Even if you're being out-expanded, you need to just eventually get to the 5th base, defend that, then eventually get to the top left, defend these bases. Slowly aim to mine out this map. And that's only going to happen if Serral takes fights like this one, where he runs in. This wasn't even inefficient in a big way from Serral. But you get the idea, right? If those fights happen again and again, you're attacking into defensive positions, Serral is not going to trade as well as INnoVation is going to trade. And as long as that happens, there is always going to be, I believe, a little bit of hope from INnoVation. It's kind of how Maru, you guys remember when we casted a Serral Maru series a little while back? It's kind of like how Maru kind of won a game against Serral. Serral just threw a little bit too much at him, and Maru just really counted out for the late game, eventually got there, and was able to win it out. And, the other game, Maru tried to do the same thing, and Serral just took better fights, denied economy in a better way. And that's one big thing, too, from the Zerg, right? Generally, they should be looking to deny economy. And the Terran expects that as well. You expect to go down to 50 SCVs because at some point you don't need 80 workers because you're only going to be mining off so few bases because you can only hold so many positions at one time. So then you have a large army on the map, and that helps you with the efficiency as well. You just have more fighting units in every single battle. And Serral's going to look around the top side. As our 5th command center finishing, we'll see how quickly INnoVation wants to try and move out and hold that. We're going to see a couple of Vipers here, going to have blinding clouds for the siege tanks. Missile turret's going to push them back a little bit, but will not get any kills. Bane's just going to crash through. And that 5th base I'm talking about, going to have to be the replacement 4th. It's very important for Serral to start getting in here and denying this eco. You do not want INnoVation just sit on a super high economy, because then he can actually just outbuild you sometimes as well. So it's important to keep that eco down. If you're going to start trading like this, you can see it now, 12k to 9.2k. It's opened up from that 1k difference. It's increasing. Serral has been a little less efficient here in the last couple of minutes. As we're going to be seeing Bio, Ghost, Medivacs. They are all playing out to the right side of the map here. A couple of tanks are going to get sieged. INnoVation is going to come through. A scan goes down, and a few of these creep teamers are going to get picked off. So we clean up a whole bunch of creep spread here. Pushing forwards, our Marines coming through, and just continue to push this creep spread back. I mean, you need to, right? The map is literally covered in creep. There's creep, where do you click without seeing creep? Like, you have to go into, the Terran's bases if you want to zoom out and not have creep on your screen. And even some of the Terran bases have creep in them. INnoVation, interestingly, rebuilds the CC here and will just attempt to take this base on the right side, too. This is going to be the next problem, right? If Serral denies another one of these command centers, as here we go, big fight happening. I'll talk about this point in a moment, as it might not matter if Serral just comes and wins the game right now. The Bane's actually running around, leaving a tank alive to deal some more splash damage. Yeah, this is going to get cleaned up. I mean, INnoVation sort of survives. He's got a bit of money to rebuild with, so he should be okay for now. If Serral kills another of these bases, the point I was going to make originally, it becomes an issue because INnoVation doesn't have replacement CCs. It's a very different game when you've got a CC right next to this one that can lift up and replace it when it dies, versus now you have to build a whole new one, right? So that's definitely going to be INnoVation's big issue. If he loses another command center, he's not been in a fortunate enough position this game to realistically just have extra command centers around the map and ready to go. Red Aspire on the way from Serral. And, while this is one of those games where Serral obviously got a lead early and he's taking full advantage of it, I still think it's a really fun game to watch. And I know you might be thinking, Wardy, what's fun about this? The Terran's kind of getting stomped. I always think it's very cool to see just how, someone like Serral approaches the stage of the game, where you can't end the game, and your opponent does have something of a win condition down the line. How do you approach that? How do you fight? How do you trade? Do you go hyper-aggressive? And one of these things is, you know, the greatest spy is on the way up. As that command center goes down, it's going to be one of the problems we just talked about. Yeah, that greatest spy is on the way up, so you're on the way to Broodlords, so the decision is sort of say, right, I'm going to start going Broodlords here. And this was maybe the worst fight Serral's taken all game long, by the way. Resources lost to open up again. But yet, it's the worst fight when it comes to efficiency, and yet you killed the command center. So it has that additional value added to it. Man, I love TVZ. You know, TVZ is actually such a cool technical, mechanical matchup. I know this game seems like, again, very over and whatever, but I still love the idea of, like, you know, INnoVation, even while down like this, kind of knows what he needs to do to win. And, you know, it was a bad fight for Serral, but you take down a CC, so it's actually a good fight given the circumstances. TVZ is pretty fascinating when you get, when you sink your teeth in deep, you know? It's pretty fascinating to see all the different ways it plays out. A couple more tanks just on the way through, friends. We've got some Banelings morphing in on this left-hand side as Lang Bane gonna go running at this planetary. This is the problem. INnoVation just can't keep the bases alive, and that's fine if you're already building the replacement command center. But he's not already building the replacement command center. He's rebuilding them as they die. And that does just make a big difference in the later stage of this game. And I think that pretty much means you're probably going to have INnoVation breaking down soon, because at this stage, Serral should just be able to crash through and win this out. So no need for Broodlords or anything. As, that's even just annoying, right? Burrow the Lings, you force a scan, and even some of them just unburrow and back away. That's like actually the most frustrating thing you've ever seen. Even though INnoVation probably knows this game isn't going well for him, it's a little slap in the face. So I was like, oh, scan. Yeah, scan for me. Ha ha ha, now I get it out of... Yeah, maybe Serral's not like that, but it's a cool play either way. 49 more Banelings coming up, friends. I mean, how many does that put us on the map? 67? If Serral can attack into you with 67 Banelings every single time, do you think you can ever win this game? Probably, like, in any situation that's realistic for the Terran to get to? Probably not, right? Okay, and this happens because Serral is rich enough, because INnoVation's had to do nothing but sit back this game. You know, we've seen the Babes actually have a pretty horrible fight, to be honest. They run through kind of a column of bio units. You know, they kind of like ran through bio units to the left and the right of them, and they were just going through the middle like, we will go to the other side. But the other side of what, guys? There was nothing there. Again, I gotta say, INnoVation takes another really good fight. It's just off the back of losing these bases. And if those bases had stayed alive, maybe we have a different story to tell here. Maybe we have something more of a comeback. INnoVation knows that he's got to go right now. He just killed all the Banelings, so in theory, this is his best ever chance to attack, while the Banelings maybe aren't ready on the other side, while the rebuild hasn't happened. So he's going to try and take advantage of it, knowing that the economy won't stay going his way in any way, shape, or form. It is just going to be GG, and it is going to be Serral taking game number 1. Like I said, like INnoVation behind the whole game, but I still find it very fun to watch to see, can INnoVation draw this back? Can Serral, you know, find the correct fights to take, which in this case he absolutely did. So it was always very fun to watch. But not much else to really add on to this game number 1, guys. We're going to dive on into a game number 2 here in just a moment. Just before we do, so we don't talk over the start of game number 1, I'm just going to very quickly say as well, we've just announced a little announcement that we've just announced the WardiTV Spring Championship $7,000 tournament. And that's thank you so much to you guys that watch the videos and just support the content. It's going to be a brand new tournament coming up for us. It starts as early as this week. And if you do want to support our tournaments, check out patreon.com/WardiTV. Other exciting stuff to look out for this week. Final thing I'm going to say, we'll hop straight into Game 2. World Team League starts. All those top-level teams are going to be playing each other from this Friday, the 26th of March. So make sure you tune into that. We will, of course, have the best matches right here on the YouTube channel as well. I just want to make sure people know about this. It's a high-level $50,000 team league. Pretty much all the best players in the world, at least all the best teams in the world. It's going to be amazing, and you guys need to know about that. So I'm going to stop talking about other stuff, but I feel like that was important to say, and I'll see you guys in game number 2. Alrighty, welcome to the second map here. As we're going to start off in the bottom right-hand corner of Lightshade. Excuse me actually a second, guys. I'm just going to swap us over to the YouTube scene. Just took us onto the wrong scene there. Just removes the sponsor logos and stuff. There we go. Sorry for that. Okay, welcome to the bottom right-hand side of Lightshade. As we start off with our Blue Zerg, who is up 1-0. It is Serral taking on the red Terran player in the top left-hand side, INnoVation. See how nice this is now. Now I don't have to do any salad stuff at the start of the game. We can talk all about this wonderful Rax into gas, and we can talk a bit about Lightshade in general, actually. Kind of a Zergy map. Obviously, INnoVation chooses to veto other things and would rather play Lightshade. This is the best of 3, so it's not like you're playing a map which is like really down the bottom of your list that you don't want to play here. But typically, Lightshade is one of the Terran vetoes that you see in this matchup. So to see INnoVation allowing Lightshade to come through must mean he's somewhat comfortable on this map. A lot of players that play this map, and I know Beyond likes to play this map sometimes in TVZ, a lot of players that play this map, they will play a kind of like an aggressive opening, and I think that's what you need. You need to get a head start in the game, like a Hellbat attack or something along those lines. Maybe you go hard into Cloak Banshees. This is not a map you play 3cc on, and if INnoVation tries to play 3cc here, then I'm going to be kind of disappointed, because this map is not good. This map is not good for a long game for Terran if you're just going to play off equal or even just slightly ahead footing. And the 3cc doesn't really put you on, ahead in any way, because the Zerg just plays around it. It puts you in an even spot. It gives you a good economy. Don't get me wrong, it is not a bad build. But it's better suited to different maps than Lightshade. So I'm hoping that we see a factory into a second gas here from INnoVation. He is going to go Reaper into just the one Marine. That's very standard and typical as well. Obviously, we saw the Reaper last time after one Marine, but that was in a bit of a different circumstance. It was not quite meant to be like that with that Proxy Racks opening. As we'll see the Reaper coming down the right-hand side. It's going to make its way towards this natural expansion where a couple of drones are ready to be hit. Obviously, there's Lings here as well. That's a good grenade, by the way. Going to put the drone out in the front, and that's in a bit of an awkward spot. Reaper can control this area for a while, so that's a drone that's just not mine in early game. It has a bigger impact than a lot of people like to imagine, right? I mean, at this stage of the game, one drone is like 5% of your economy. So it's like a 5% economy decrease for almost 20 seconds here, right? Like, that Spore Crawler was nearly done building. Oh, INnoVation, you're going to do what I didn't want you to do. You're going to play a 3cc. If you'd play a 3cc, the one thing that I would then like to see, if you're going to play Lightshade, is perhaps something like a very aggressive follow-up, right? Oh, he's going to play a second factory. Okay, I can get behind this, because this is different. This is unique. I can get behind someone who plays like this is just going to be a completely different style of play. This might not even be bio at the end of the day. Sometimes you see the second factory builds and we see Blue Flame into a bio switch. Because this is factory into 3cc into the second factory, I'm not sure if you probably can still go Blue Flame, but I'm not sure if you switch into bio after it anymore. We'll find out. Serral's going to know everything with Overlord speed, though, so he's going to have good scouting information. I don't mind the 3cc if it turns out to be mag. I actually don't think I mind if it turns out to be this, because at least then you're doing something different, you're putting the pressure on, and you've got a way in which you can look to deal damage. The problem is if you go 3cc and you build like 6 Hellions, and you build like, 6 Hellions and like you go into like a Viking, that's not going to do the damage that you want to get done, right? That's not going to put you, like, that's where the Zerg can just overrun the game. This is just going to be Blue Flame, so I assume this is going to end up being bio in the end. Okay, I can get behind this one. Like I say, I know I went on a crusade against 3cc, but this is not just your regular 3cc, so... Serral Scouts, that's going to be, INnoVation's biggest problem, that Serral can now say, oh, Blue Flame Hellions, what am I going to do about that? We'll probably build Roaches. Of course, the Blue Flame Hellions, they want to draw out Roaches, because the follow-up to this, as, from Serral's point of view, is, if I get aggressive, I'm going to be attacking into bio, and INnoVation says, well, if I've got bio is actually pretty good against Roaches, so if it can force you into a Roach style, it could benefit me later in the game. Of course, you still want to hope that these Hellions are able to get something done with the Blue Flame. If they're not able to get something done with the Blue Flame, then we may be in some trouble. As Hellions come through. It's going to put some damage out. Queen's taking some shots and just going to be having our Reaper Hellion force coming back around the right-hand side. Again, that Infernal Pre-Igniter is going to finish up. The Stim Pack's coming through. Let's see what our Hellions get. I mean, it only takes a Hellions to get by for a moment. You can see Serral is so committed to this defense. Drone in the wall, ready to be in Evo Chambers. The first Hellions show up on the third phase. They kind of derp into Queens. The Lings get us around. That is going to be a good catch. That's the wall off over on this side as well. And INnoVation is just going to have a bit of a nightmare there, honestly. Don't think that was quite how this was meant to go. This is going to get pushed away back up the right-hand side. That's obviously not ideal. Well, this didn't do anything early in the game, and to the point where Serral, he built 3 roaches. It's not even a big roach count. He's going to start missile upgrade. I don't think you even really need to look at the missile upgrade here as something which you need to go into. If you want to just play Ling Bane at this point, I think you probably can. You kind of pass the scariest part. Somehow these Lings get blocked from the main base. It feels like they should have probably gotten in there with the barracks being out of position, but it doesn't happen. And, well, INnoVation, you need to actually go clean those up. I mean, this is nice for INnoVation. These are just free Ling kills. Okay, the Hellions have to pull back home, and it gives Serral a chance to drone fairly freely, but yeah, you still clean up some units out the map. Serral going to start roach speed. So he's hard committed to like a 1-1 roach timing. How many drones are we going to have? We're going to have 66 on the map right now, so it's full 3-base saturation, 1-1 roach timing. He is going to start 4th hatch as well, okay, so he's not even fully committed to it. I'd be surprised if he droned anything for that 4th hatchery right now. I'd be very surprised if he droned up the 4th hatch at all, but I don't mind the 4th hatch in the sense of he doesn't, he's not, he's ahead enough that he can just fall back to a 4th base after having a good time with the roaches, so I can get behind that. We're going to see a drop Lord as well, by the way. With Overlord speed from earlier, it means he can bring the Queens across the map, so we're going to have an all-out onslaught onto INnoVation's bases in the very near future. Now, the good thing that he's done is he's got a high tank count up. He's got 2 factories, and he's put the second one onto a tech lab as well now, so you got 2 tanks building at a time. So the tank count's going to be rather high here, and that's going to be part of the way in which he plays this game, the kind of the mind games of this map, in the sense of, trying to make this into a position where you can kind of take down the Roach Ravager forces. You can kind of bait Roach Ravager, and then you have a tank defense against it. I just feel like these Hellions needed to do something else along the way. Yeah, INnoVation's taking a work lead right now, but that's very likely because he's about to die. Even if the Hellions get in now, it's been so long from the point at which these could have first done damage that even if they get like 10 workers right now, it doesn't really affect anything because Serral is already set up to come and push through and make INnoVation's life miserable. So let's see. I mean, it is a high tank count. He is setting up a wall off. He's doing the correct things to potentially make a defense here. He's going to have to pull SCVs, INnoVation. If you don't pull SCVs, I don't think you can win this because then the Roach Ravager gets on top of the tanks too quickly. The tanks are going to put in some serious work. Ravagers and Roaches continue to be blown up. I mean, it honestly wasn't bad for INnoVation. It's just he's too far behind. The drop actually goes into the main base. He's going to drop the Roaches off here, and they're going to get some SCVs. That's definitely a problem, because INnoVation doesn't have the numbers to go deal with a few additional Roaches elsewhere right now. So it's a really cute addition from Serral that's actually going to do a lot. Forces units into the main base. He's still pushing through on the front. It looks like Serral's going to sweep through this one. But a little bit of a 2-0. GG's. Serral is going to get that 2-0. Meaning he would advance on to the winner's match of this group, which is something we might end up casting the next couple of days or so. Not 100% sure just yet exactly what we're going to be doing, actually, but yeah, we'll obviously let you guys know as best as possible. I mean, obviously, just watch the YouTube channel. You'll see what gets uploaded, right? We obviously upload the best here on the YouTube. I feel like it's time to do some more YouTube exclusives again. I want to get the YouTube back on track, guys. So, as I say goodbye today, please do consider hitting the like button. Do consider subscribing. Yeah, I just want to push the viewers up a little bit, I don't mind if the sub count doesn't go up and stuff, but our viewer count's definitely hurt lately, and, I feel like that's on me. Maybe I didn't do enough YouTube-only content and stuff, so help us out, get us back on track. Any way you can, watch the videos, subscribe, come back again tomorrow. I really appreciate it. We're going to put some more work into the YouTube the next couple of weeks, especially some extra YouTube exclusives. A little bit of a bad timing for YouTube exclusives, simply for the fact we've had so many good games on the stream lately, but I think it's worth it. I think it's worth putting some extra love in the YouTube. Get some more eyes on this one. Guys, thank you so much for watching once again. Listen to me blabber on, here and there for a couple of moments also. Really appreciate it. This was INnoVation versus Serral from Stay at Home Story Cup. I was Wardy. This was WardiTV. Stay safe, and we'll see you guys next time for more StarCraft 2.